Recording in progress.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final round of Global Social Responsibility Challenge. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, you are.
Wonderful. A very warm welcome to our judges and our teams. I am thrilled to welcome you to the final round of the Global Social Responsibility Challenge, a highlight of Vista 2024. I am Bangalore's annual business summit. The Global Social Responsibility Challenge is more than just a competition. It is a call to action for students worldwide to channel their intellect, creativity, and passion into solving some of the most pressing issues that our planet faces today. In this challenge, participants have delved into the critical areas of sustainability, social responsibility, and impact, pushing the boundaries of conventional thinking to solve our problems. This moment represents the culmination of your hard work, creativity, and dedication goals. You've already demonstrated exceptional skill to make it this far, and now you stand on the brink of potentially defining solutions that could shape a more sustainable future. Remember, this is not just about winning, it's about making a lasting impact, and you are the brightest minds of your generation. Today, you have the opportunity to contribute a global movement that will shape the future. As you present your final strategies, think big, push the boundaries, and show us how your ideas can make a real difference. And joining us, we have the most wonderful panel of judges. Sai?
Joining in our esteemed judges, first I introduce to you Professor Chetan Solanki, a distinguished educator, researcher, and innovator who is currently on a remarkable 11-year journey called the Energy Swaraj Yatra, a journey dedicated to promoting 100% social solar energy adoption and addressing climate change. He is renowned for his leadership in solar projects, including the Solar Urja through localization for sustainability project, which has provided clean light to 7.5 million families. Renowned as both the Solar Man of India and Solar Gandhi, he has been honored by Prime Minister Modi and recognized as the brand ambassador of solar energy by Madhya Pradesh. Professor Solanki has made significant contributions to solar education, chairing committees for CBSE and AICTE, and has authored 8 books, published over 100 research papers, and holds 4 US patents. His work has earned him numerous awards, including IEEE's Global Grand Prize and the Prime Minister's Innovation Award. Through the Energy Swaraj Yatra, which has already reached over 2 lakh people, Professor Solanki aims to promote energy literacy to over 100 crore people and inspire families to adopt solar energy by 2030. Please join me in welcoming him.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Amongst our esteemed judges here today, we have Mr. Hardik Jagra. Mr. Hardik Jagra is a distinguished entrepreneur, investor, and engineer, currently serving as a founder and chairman and CEO at Proximity Works. Based in Palo Alto, California, he leads the company's vision to revolutionize AI, SaaS, and performance engineering across the globe. Mr. Jagra is also the chairman of Proximity Foundation, an initiative dedicated to transforming the lives of underprivileged women and children through the equitable access to education. With over a decade of experience, Mr. Jagra has successfully founded and scaled several companies under the Proximity Works umbrella, hosting partnership with leading names like Nasdaq, Disney, and ESPN. Notably, Hardik's career has been marked by his passion for solving complex problems with technology and creating value for the long term. Before founding Proximity, he led engineering team at several startups, consistently driving innovation and growth. On the educational front, Mr. Jagra holds a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology from the University of Mumbai. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Hardik Jagra, a visionary leader shaping the future of AI and technology. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Neeraj. It's a privilege to be here.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. So today we have our third judge of the night, Mrs. Samyukta Ganesh here. So as a Chief Experience Officer at Sephora and a CMO for stellar brands like Kaya and Baskin Robbins, Samyukta has made a significant impact in transforming consumer experiences and driving brand innovation across the industry. With a career spanning over 2 decades, Samyukta has led marketing strategies for some of the most iconic brands such as Vaseline, Lakme, Asian Paints, and Fruity. Her expertise in developing innovative solutions and scaling successful marketing campaigns will provide valuable insights to everyone today. In addition to her impressive professional achievements, Samyukta is also an accomplished writer, having penned a book about a Jewish girl growing up in India. So she's also a transformation corporate coach. So in this role, Samyukta is dedicated to spread awareness about the critical role of EQ in our business world. Not only this, Samyukta is also a three-time recipient of the prestigious Cannes Young Lion Award. Last but not the least, Samyukta is driven by her mission to create value for consumers and businesses through engaging and effective marketing solution. We are incredibly honored to have Samyukta with us today as a judge for this competition, where her expertise and experience will undoubtedly inspire and challenge all participants and everyone present here. So please join me in giving a warm round of welcome for Samyukta Ganesh here.
A very warm welcome to all of our judges. Uh, and now we would like to start by having Professor Solanki address the panel and talk about his experiences. Whenever you're ready, Professor.
I'm sorry, misread. Is it for me? Sorry, I just rushed it.
Yes, yes. We would love to hear your thoughts on sustainability and climate change and your experiences so far.
Great. So, good evening, everyone, and sorry for being a little late, and thank you so much for having me here. As a professor, I have been always, talking about the sustainability and how people understand, or rather, to say how people do not understand it. And in my book, last book that I've written called Energy Swaraj, My Experiments with Solar Truth, I have defined sustainability. And the way I defined is that when the left-hand side is equal to right-hand side, then you're sustainable. And every time when you can check this equation, whether it is true or not. For example, when your salary is equal to your expenses, then you're sustainable, isn't it? The moment you spend more money than what you're earning, you may be able to survive 2 months, 3 months, 1 year by borrowing money, but you'll never be able to continue forever. So therefore, when left-hand side is not equal to right-hand side, you are not sustainable. And extending this, when I look at the planet and what people are doing on this planet, it is very clear that whatever we are doing is unsustainable. For a simple logical perspective, let me put it that our science is growing, our technology is growing, our economy is growing, our production is growing, our consumption is growing, everything is growing. But is the size of the planet also growing? No. Is the amount of water on the planet growing? No. Are the minerals growing? No. Nothing is growing on this planet. Only humans think that no, we should grow, we should produce more, we should consume more. How is it possible? So when left-hand side is not equal to right-hand side, you are not sustainable. When your size of the planet is not growing with respect to growing population, growing per capita demand on production and consumption, you cannot be sustainable. And therefore, when you stress out more, when you're consuming more than what you're producing, and there is a very systematic study about this, what is called Earth Overshoot Day. There's a parameter that measures how many days humans are taking to use resources that are generated by the planet in 1 year. And ideally, Earth Overshoot Day should come on December 31st, which means the capacity of the planet to regenerate resources in 1 year should be consumed in 1 year. Then we are sustainable. But what is happening in reality, the Earth Overshoot Day this year came on 1st of August, just recently it has gone, which means from 2nd of August till 31st December, whatever we are consuming is actually not ours, and I call them, all these resources that I'm using right now is actually stolen resources. I'm stealing things. I'm stealing water from my children. I'm stealing the resources from my children. So from that measure, we are all living a stolen life. Not only this, that we are not living a sustainable, not only that we are over consuming than we should be consuming, the problem is what we are consuming. That is even more dangerous. What we are consuming. We are consuming, of course, the clothes and cement and concrete and furniture and mobile and car and all. What is all these things? What is it? All this material that we see and touch in our life, if I'm using pen, I don't see this is a pen only. What is this? This is a manifestation of energy. To make this pen, there has to be a manufacturing, there has to be mining some material, that it's chemical, that's some energy. If I'm brushing my teeth, the toothpaste has to be manufactured, the toothbrush has to be manufactured, the wash basin has to be manufactured, the mirror has to be manufactured. All this manufacturing requires energy. When I'm wearing a shirt, to make this shirt, you need to plow the field. You need to run tractor, energy. You need to irrigate, water, energy. You need to grow the cotton. For that, you need to put fertilizers and pesticide, energy. Then you have to grow cotton and take the cotton out. And then from that cotton, you need to take the thread out. And from thread, you have to make cloth. And from that cloth, you have to make your shirt and pant. A lot of energy. The way we are communicating, that is taking energy. What I'm saying is, not only that we are overdoing and over consuming resources, but the problem is every consumption, every production is resulting in a use of energy. So what is the problem if you're using energy? Well, the problem is because 80 to 85% energy that we use in the world comes from only 3 sources: coal, oil, and gas. 80 to 85%, can you believe it? Which means every time I brush my teeth, every time when I wear my shirt, every time when I cook my food, every time I use building, every time I'm using furniture, I am actually responsible for using coal, oil, and gas, which means it is going to result in what is called carbon emission. Because petrol is carbon, diesel is carbon, LPG is carbon, CNG, everything is carbon. So it is always going to result in carbon emission. So not only that I'm overusing it, every use of my energy is resulting in an emission of carbon dioxide. That is a greenhouse gas. It is trapping the heat. Right now, there is a 52% extra carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and therefore 52% extra capacity of the planet to trap the heat. As a result of that, planet is warming up. It is like a fever to the planet. When my body warms up, my body's temperature is 97, 98 degree Fahrenheit. If it is 100 degree by 2 degree, higher by 2 degree, I say body has got the fever. Similar to right now, planet has got the fever because planet's temperature is increased by 2.5 degree Fahrenheit. So planet has got the fever. And when you and I get a fever, we can't behave properly. We can't eat properly. We can't sleep properly. Similar to that, planet also cannot behave properly. And that's why there are floods, droughts, heat waves, cold waves, forest fires, ice melting, sea level rise. All things that can go wrong is actually going wrong. Why? We are not living sustainably. Why? We are over consuming. Why? We are actually using and causing carbon emission and causing global warming. So all the participants, those who are there and taking part in this competition, I must tell you, even if you want to figure out a solution, please, for the God's sake, don't create another problem. You know why? because we, the modern human, we are all expert. You know what we are expert in? We are all expert in solving one problem and creating another problem. And everybody knows in this world, right? You ask anyone solving one problem. Okay, so we are all expert in doing that. Please do understand, follow some fundamentals of living on this planet, and size of the planet is not increasing. Everything is finite on this planet. Our consumption must be finite. It cannot grow. Nothing can help you to grow your consumption. So whatever you're doing in your business or your problem solving, if it is not helping you to limit your consumption, you are not solving the problem. I hope it is ample clear, and unfortunately it's not clear to most of the people, and most of the people feel that doing more is the solution, and I say no, doing less is the solution. We need less of a technology, we need less of a production, we need less of everything. That is the solution. Why? Because everything on this planet is finite. So with this note, I hope the solutions are aligning with this law of nature, and anybody and anyone who can help, not only in India, but the planet Earth and every 8.3 billion people, to limit our consumption and localize our production, I think that solution will be worthy of a Nobel Prize, because that is what is missing. So all the best to all the participants, and I hope you all aspire to win a Nobel Prize by doing the right thing, limiting consumption and localizing production. So thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. That was really inspiring. Next, we would like to have Hardik talk about his experiences in tech.
Thank you. I think my take will be a little different than Professor Solanki's. I work in tech and I run technology companies. So I can't really advocate using less technology, but yeah, building better technology is what my approach is. So Proximity's companies are synonymous today with building cutting-edge AI-powered solutions for ourselves and our clients globally. But one of our earliest offerings back in 2019 started with building high-performance software with limited resources and on low-end devices, like feature phones and set-top boxes. Now, when you're working with such limited capacity, the focus on efficiency really forces you to think from a sustainability point of view, right? So our commitment to sustainability started there. And when you look at a website or a web application or a mobile application, if it's performant, it doesn't just improve the user experience and generate more revenue. It plays a crucial role in reducing the environmental impact of the internet as well. By optimizing the energy consumption and minimizing the demand on server infrastructure, we reduce the carbon footprint associated with with digital operations. And at Proximity, we also built operations from the ground up with a strong commitment to sustainability, with more than 90% of our team working remotely since 2019. So this is pre-pandemic. We've been working remotely since then, and we've significantly reduced our overall carbon footprint by minimizing the need for daily commuting and frequent business travel. This remote first approach, of course, not only supports a healthier work-life balance, but also contributes to reducing the emissions. And we also use open source software that Proximity largely contribute to, and also exclusively make sure that for all the applications that we build for ourselves and our clients, mainly uses open source software, promotes transparency, encourages community collaboration, and it also helps in resulting in more sustainable and accessible tech solutions for everyone. And beyond our operational practices, Proximity also is dedicated towards making a broader social impact to the Proximity Foundation, as you guys must have heard about it so far. So a portion of our profits goes directly to this foundation, where we are focusing on educating at-risk and underprivileged women and children. We believe that equipping them with modern tools like coding, design, entrepreneurship, ethics, sustainability is actually one of the key topics on the foundation. Financial literacy, fitness and nutrition empowers the next generation to drive positive change in their communities and beyond. So, we don't just leverage technology for innovation, we are making sustainability a part of everything we do. And as we continue to innovate, it's important to remember that sustainability practices may not look the same for every company or every organization. Each business, each institute has an opportunity to develop its own unique approach to fighting climate change, tailored to its specific context and capabilities. With that being said, I'm generally excited to see the creative and impactful solutions that you guys have all come up with today. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Hardik. That was great to listen to about how tech can impact the world going forward. And lastly, we have Samyukta, a very experienced business coach and a person who has a lot of experience making sure that companies reach their target audiences. So, Samyukta, over to you.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. I think it's a little hard to go on after such inspiring speeches that we heard from both, Dr. Solanki and from Mr. Hardik. So, I think I'd borrow a little bit from what both of them said. Like, I love the fact that Solanki sir, you spoke about. I love the fact that you said that we need less of everything, not more. I think that really hit home hard because, Hardik, you spoke about the fact that, at the end of the day, every company, everybody has to kind of figure out what sustainability means for them. I think in my experience of a little under 2 decades across various organizations in FMCG, one way that, I saw the transition happen where it started off as mere lip service, where it became an agenda. And I'll be very honest, that's really how it all began, saying that, okay, we are harming the environment a little bit lesser, so much percentage. It became lack of a better word and shooting myself in the foot. But yeah, like part of business cases where we said, okay, we've done this so much, carbon footprint, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of that kind of conversations that initially happened. To organizations then transitioning into saying, let's become truly sustainable. And how do we kind of go about doing that? Packaging plays a huge component in the FMCG business because there's so much waste that gets produced in the whole packaging material. The second part, of course, like Dr. Solanki also spoke about, the whole raw materials that get used, there is just so much of it being consumed day in and day out. It's unbelievable in terms of just, how it all gets used. And I think that's where the pandemic really helped in terms of everyone became a little more mindful of what kind of a world are we leaving behind for our children today. And, you spoke about stolen. Yeah, we are living on, a lot of stolen time, stolen resources. And that's when I think organizations also started getting into this. If we can't spend 10 CR at one go, to kind of change everything overnight, then can we at least launch a new product line that's actually then environmentally friendly, that's actually sustainable? I think that's how everyone's kind of figuring out their niche. Having said that, my journey itself from, like being a brand builder to, this entire coaching space, I just like to remind everyone here that while, a lot of things in life are very finite, a lot of things is operating on less at this point in time. I truly believe that the human potential is infinite. When we speak about each one of you sitting here, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to just see the amount of, and I love the topic, there's just, you kind of forced everyone across categories to dig so much deeper to say, what can we do? And it's amazing because this is going to be raw and unfiltered, without having seen much. If this is going to come from each one of you, and this is the planet for you guys, this is where it's all headed. And I think that's where the role of coaching also kind of comes in, because it truly helps you unlock your highest potential. That's infinite. And I think that's where all of this kind of ties in together, saying that the good thing is the human intelligence is high enough, emotionally speaking, spiritually speaking, intelligently speaking, to kind of, undo the wrongs that we've probably done and make everything right again. So yeah, on that note, I'd like to leave it at that. And all the best. I think we're all very, very excited to hear what each one of you has to say today.
Thank you so much, Samyukta, Hardik, and Professor. And without any further ado, let's jump right into the presentation. So up first, we have Team Philanthropists. Guys, can you please share your screen?
Sure. Yeah.
Just a reminder to all the teams, you will be timed and you have to finish presenting in 10 minutes. Otherwise, we will be forced to cut you off. So all the best, guys. You can
Yes.
start now.
Okay. Good evening, esteemed jury members, the organizing team, and my fellow participants. We are Team Philanthropists from NMIMS Mumbai, and we're happy and very, very excited to present our solution for Global Social Responsibility Challenge, organized by Team Vista. I am Bangalore. Without further ado, moving on to our problem statement. EV users experience range anxiety from scarce charging stations, and thermal energy charging from the grid further lessens the environmental benefits of EVs that they are supposed to provide. To know more about the problem, we've conducted our primary research, and through our research, we found out that people are scared to make planned trips as there are very less charging stations, and it might even be the case that their EV is undercharged and they have to choose alternative ways of travel because of less charging. And EV charging also takes a lot of time. And some people are worried about the environmental impact of internal combustion engines. Yeah. And in our secondary research, we found out that this phenomenon is called range anxiety, where there is a fear experienced by EV users regarding the amount of distance their EV can provide them. And India lacks infrastructural issues with regards to the charging stations and various options of charging. That is, the ratio of EV users to charging stations is significantly lower. And EV also adds to the volatility of instantaneous demand. This affects the grid stability. And yeah, to address all the pain points of consumers, we have come up with a solution, which is a product as a service model, wherein we are using mobile charging units that contain renewable energy batteries that are rolling out in the city, reaching out users who are in need of charging services. And these MCUs have solar panels mounted on top of them, which enables on-the-go charging when they are parked. And the charging capacity of this one MCU is that it can charge around 10 two-wheeler EVs at a single point of time, maximizing resource utilization. And to connect with our users, we are using an app interface. One might assume that you can only reach one user at a point in time, but our app integrates all the nearby service requests and finds out one sweet location in such a way that multiple users can reach that point, and that also reduces their price that they're paying for the charging. Again, there might be a question of whether users would be willing to move to that charging point, but compared to the case when they're calling the MCU to their location, the price would be very less when they are going to the common charging point. Yes. And for our market analysis, through our market analysis, we've observed that there is a rapid rise in EV sales in various states in India. And the category is such that the options available to EV users are at-home charging, which is the cheapest, and the charging stations that are on the rise by various private and government players. And one more idea that is on the rise is battery swapping. So to implement our model, we've chosen Bangalore as our launch city because of various favorable factors such as it has high EV adoption rate and very less charging stations compared to the number of two-wheeler EV users, and favorable solar policies. Since we're also operating through an app, the tech-savvy workforce and the zero road tax on EVs priced under 25 lakhs make Bangalore the absolute right location for our launch. Yeah. And for our implementation, we've envisaged it in two phases. That is, one, we're rolling out in Bangalore initially. Then after achieving certain scale, we are also planning to move to other metro cities. Yeah. Yeah, our approach to funding is pretty simple. We want to focus on those sources of funding that are relevant to us, such as Small Industrial Development Bank of India provides up to 20 crore loan on sustainable startups at a cheaper rate. And one other source is that venture capitalists and firms who are actively investing in green startups. And we are considering this not just as a source of funds, but also since we are a startup, we want our strategic direction to be intact, and that's why we want to focus on VCs as well, and other crowdfunding platforms, both domestic and foreign. Talking about the climate impact of our model, we've calculated that our model helps us reduce up to 180 metric tons of CO2 emissions annually when users switch to solar-based charging instead of charging from the grid. That is our value proposition. And this also maximizes resource utilization, because when you're only charging one user at a time, only compared to when you're charging multiple users at a time, we are using our max resources in a very uh, utilitarian way. I mean, there's no wastage as such. Talking about the challenges, one challenge that might come to your mind is that there is also government investment, and various private EV players are also coming up with their own charging stations. So how would you tackle this competition is, if you ask us, at a later stage, we might also focus on the EV users that are moving towards the outskirts of the cities, such as on the highways. That could also be our target geography. And talking about other ways of addressing the challenge, we can partner with EV manufacturers as well in the future, so that we become their brand USP. That is, when Ather wants to pitch to its target audience, it can tell that we also provide mobile charging units, and that is one way we're trying to add value through the strategic partnership. And one more way is that we can also be a energy provider, solar energy provider to events that happens, such as various family events. And there is less category awareness since it's a new model. So we plan to use various innovative promotional tools to ensure maximum awareness about our model. And one more challenge is finding parking locations for the mobile charging unit, and addressing the traffic in Bangalore. So during the peak hours, we might want to park our MCU in those core areas where it's easy to target two-wheeler EVs. And now my friend Bhavya would like to take up the next part.
Yeah, thanks, Vishnu. So, our major capital equipment that would be required in this business model will be the MCU, that is mobile charging unit. What we have decided is to go for a three-wheeler e-rickshaw of level 5, and it will have an inverter, a battery, and the foldable solar panels on the rooftop. So the battery is basically to charge the EVs. The inverter is basically to convert the voltage for fast charging. And also we have decided for on-the-go charging in case of emergency or any issue. So we have decided to plant a small solar panel on the rooftop. Our next capex is basically sourcing solar energy. So what we have decided is we have decided to take solar energy directly from BESCOM, that is Bangalore Electricity Supply. This is because we are trying to avoid some amount of capex in the initial stages of our business. And also, like in this solar plant, what we'll be doing is we'll charge our batteries as well as our MCUs in the night. Vishnu, can you please shift to the financials?
Yeah, sure.
So basically, these are other financials for our business model. Firstly, what we have done is we have calculated the TAM, SAM, and SOM. While looking at the total EV sales in the city of Bangalore, we have derived our total addressable market. Then we have categorized our SAM as 20% of our TAM, being very conservative. And again, we have tried to target only the core areas of Bangalore. So because of which we are catering a total of 354 EVs on a daily basis. So we have assumed a total of 3 kilowatt per hour battery of a two-wheeler, out of which we are deciding to charge at least 50%. So energy required per vehicle is 1.5 kilowatt hour. And from using this, we have derived our total energy required, and also the number of MCUs that are required for our first phase of business. We have catered to an average price of ₹50. This premium price is basically of two major reasons. First is the convenience that we are providing the customers due to on-the-spot charging, and also the speed, because we are trying to charge at least 50% of their two-wheelers in 30 to 40 minutes. Also, like the solar power cost and the MCU cost. In the MCU, the base
Hello,
cost is 2 lakh.
team philanthropist. Sorry, your time is over. 10 minutes over.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
So we are open to questions.
Yeah, we can move to question and answer.
Hi, so shall I go ahead with the question?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay.
Yes, sir, sure.
Hi, and thank you for your presentation. I have some very basic question that I think your proposition is that you will provide the kind of emergency charging to two-wheelers, right? You'll provide the service and you'll be able to charge, and you're claiming that you are going to be, good for the climate because you're going to provide solar electricity. That's correct, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. One simple question that in your the unit, the charging unit, some energy would have gone in making the batteries, the auto rickshaw, the solar panel, etc. How much is that energy, or how much is the carbon emission because of the embedded energy of your unit? And how much time it takes to save that carbon emission because of your services?
Bhavya, you want to take that up?
No,
So,
sir, you can take that up.
the mobile charging unit that we are using is also an EV, and we've also included its own energy requirements in the model. So,
How much is that?
So, sir, the per kilowatt energy for one MCU is 5 kilowatt.
No,
Like one
I'm
MCU
asking,
has a
what
battery
I'm
capacity
asking
of
is
5
that to make your solar mobile unit, that you have to make batteries, and batteries manufacturing requires mining of materials, manufacturing batteries, recycling batteries. The vehicle will require manufacturing of steel, engine, and then some panels. So all that requires energy and carbon emission. So that is not going to be 5 K. It is going to be in several tons, right? Now you are saying that, yes, I'm climate positive because I'm providing a solar electricity for charging. So first of all, you're negative because you consume something to make your vehicle. Then it has to be compensated because every charging should help you to save something. So you don't, if you don't know how much energy has gone in carbon emission in making the vehicle itself, then it is difficult to say that you're actually climate positive. I hope my question is clear.
yeah, absolutely clear, sir. I get your point
Yes,
that a
sir,
lot of
got your point.
emissions are already involved in the supply chain of creating various assets. But again, sir, given the set of options, this is I won't say we are, I mean, changing the earth with our model. It's just one step towards a cleaner EV ecosystem, because if you charge from the grid, 1 kilowatt hour of thermal energy that creates around 800 grams of CO2 emissions, whereas 1 kilowatt hour of solar energy, that's, I mean, significantly less. It's around 20 to 40, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I mean, there is definitely a lot of emissions involved in creating that metal, in creating that battery that out of lithium ion. But we are maybe addressing things at the lower part of the value chain, which is we want to make users switch from thermal based charging to solar based charging. Yes, sir.
You said also you're going to charge your vehicle with the electricity taken from the grid itself, right?
Yes, sir.
So that
To
is
reduce the
also,
capex, if I heard it correctly.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is also a clean source of energy, which we are getting at a premium price from DESCOM. There is, I hope you're aware of it, the green tariff.
So what is the problem here is that, the grid, of course, is pumped with the all kind of energy, and the infrastructure of the, grid itself, the power generation, the transmission, the distribution, the substations, transformer itself is also carbon emission. So what I want to say the team is that good, the concept, but you need to be very clear about the numbers and actually how much you're benefiting, that number. If you do the calculation, then it may give a good idea, a clear idea.
Sure, sir. Got
Yeah.
your point.
That's it from my side. Yeah. Hardik, Samyukta, if you want to, if you have any question.
I had a question. Sorry, Hardik, do you want to go first?
No, please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, my question was a little more simpler. On the marketing bit, you'll have kept it the same in year 1, year 2, and year 3. It also does not get into any detailing in the previous slide where you'll have mentioned different promotional tools. And I heard you all say something interesting that we will be doing. Marketing will play a huge role in ensuring awareness of that problem statement and therefore the solutions that you all are providing. How do you all plan to do that? Have you all thought that through?
Yeah, ma'am. So in this presentation, we haven't focused much on the marketing part. And if you look at our marketing budget, that's around 9 lakhs, which is around 15% of our revenues. So we've taken this number as a standard from various startups and companies. So yeah, so initially we are always, I mean, we're focusing on perfecting our operations. That's why there is less involvement, less expenditure in the marketing and promotion cost. But again, talking about various marketing campaigns that would be relevant to our model is since our TG is also pretty young, we would use social media and we would create content in such a way that it is both entertaining as well as educational for our target audience and how our model is addressing the climate impact.
And would it be organic, paid, influencer?
Organic initially. I mean, we should definitely focus on organic because our model is good and I hear that our organic marketing is very underrated and a lot of startups initially go for paid advertisement, but we would focus on organic as much as possible.
Why is that?
I mean, it so that we have got a story to tell our consumer that we have a mission to put a positive impact on the planet. Yeah, so our story would be better conveyed if it's organic marketing is what we feel. Yes.
Okay. So, okay, I'll leave it at that. But I just want you all to get a little deeper into this in terms of one, the way it has been structured itself and think through a little bit more in terms of that connect. I'm finding a little bit of a disconnect between your TG and your marketing plan. It's a little weak at this point, but yeah, overall great effort by you guys.
Thank you so much.
In terms of the value proposition, from what I understand is this will only be used in emergency situations, right? We're not trying to replace the home chargers that everybody have or the wall chargers that they have.
Again, sir, a lot of EV manufacturers are also coming up with their own charging stations, right? So home charging would not completely solve the problem. So we have charging stations that are outside the homes. And our model significantly avoids the rents as well as the fixed costs that are involved in establishing fixed charging station that is only serving to users around its area. So switching to a mobile charging way of operations would significantly expand our geography. Yes, that is one reason.
No, but from a consumer point of view, I'm trying to understand that if I have an electric car and I need to be able to know, so the way I do it now is I come back home from my office, I plug it in, and next day I know it's charged and I plug it out and I take it to the office, right? So if you are asking me to use a mobile charging station, how does that benefit the user, the consumer, if it's for the day-to-day point of view, not for an emergency point of view? I understand if I'm going on a long trip and I'm not able to find a charger on the way, where an emergency pickup or a mobile charging unit can be useful. But like how, from a consumer point of view, why do you think your solution is better than like a home charger or a wall charger?
Yes, sir. So yeah, initially when we were using petrol vehicles, that those are the ICE engines. I mean, even when the fuel was very less in the bike, someone would think that I'll find a petrol station on my way and fill it, right? But when we are using a EV, we always have to be careful of how much it is charged, right? When we're taking it out. Again, we are only addressing two-wheeler EVs because the technology that is used to charge four-wheeler EVs, we've discovered that it can't be placed on an MCU because it can't handle vibrations. Even if it's available, it comes at a very high cost that doesn't make it sustainable at all. So yeah, we're not just catering to emergency users who only charge in case of emergency. Let's say you're going to a mall. Let's say our MCU is placed outside that mall, and you're going to take 1 hour to maybe go to the shopping. And in that case, if the MCU is placed outside and you feel that your EV, two-wheeler EV is charged a bit less, let's say around 40%, 30%. So during that time, your EV is parked, you can also charge it, right? So this is the kind of audience also we're catering to.
Yeah, but malls usually have the EV infrastructure already, the charging infrastructure available, right? And they can tap into their electricity grid and show that. While that may not be clean, but that's a problem with the entire like electricity infrastructure itself, where
Understood.
it's not coming from renewable sources. Yeah.
I mean, malls would come up with their own charging options, but from our research, we've found out that the charging infrastructure currently is very less compared to the number of EV users. And even if it's there, those DC charging units, a lot of users found them to be under-maintained. So yeah, I think there is a gap to address there as well, is what we feel.
Yeah. In terms of, I think, it's a noble mission, but you have to also understand it from the business economics and consumer point of view. Why would a consumer want to switch to your platform, right? Just take that into account. I feel if you change the narrative to something like a AAA, which is very famous for, if your car breaks down in the middle of the road and you give them a call, they come in to tow your car or fix your tire. Somewhat of that fashion, if you just change the messaging around that, I feel that is a better way to communicate what you're trying to do for the consumers. And you can have a second offering there, wherein you're also installing these since you don't want to do a lot of paid campaigns and you want to do it more organically, you can place these strategically outside malls and places like that to do your marketing. I feel that's a better way to proceed, my opinion. But yeah.
Sure, sir.
From a long-term EV user now, so 2-3 years now.
Yes.
Thank you, judges. Thank you, team. Hope that the feedback helps for you to take this plan forward. Next up, we have Team Eager. Up to you guys.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment to tell my teammates for a quick mic testing to see our network's right or not. Am I audible?
Yes.
Pratyay Kaustav, am I audible? You guys also?
Yes, you're audible.
A trend of today, utilized right, is a beacon of change for tomorrow. With data and experiences from Rwandan people themselves, in hopes for a cleaner future, we have infused sustainability to a business, fostering today towards true green future of tomorrow. This week, Team Eager, BTech students from Jadavpur University, are presenting our idea of Wanderlist. Over to you, Kaustav.
Global trends indicate a clear wave of sustainability in the tourism sector in the form of eco-conscious tourism or ecotourism. As you can see, the industry flourishes at 16.18% CAGR, parallel with high tourist spendings and arrivals, mostly popular in the Gen Y segment. This is a zone of challenge, yet it has great future business prospects. Now, we are looking at more tourism trends.
Looking at the tourism profile internationally, we can see the conscious of travelers for eco-conscious and cultural enthusiasm has been on the trend, with global search for sustainable travel increasing at 142.6%. The data shows that 53% of all global travelers are looking to contribute into the visiting nation's culture and economic growth. So this shows that the people are preferring to travel for nations like Rwanda and other countries more over the traditional tourist place. Now let's focus on why Rwanda. Over to you, Aditri. Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, I think mic issue.
Aditri, you're on mute.
Okay, let's focus. The Indo-Rwanda, with land which suffered genocide in 1994 and suffered a loss of million lives, the tragic that it's still reeling from today, has bounced back strongly to be one of the leading nations for business in Rwanda. But data shows that investment in Rwanda is very skewed, with 83.4% of investment mostly in the Kigali city provinces, while compared to the rest of the provinces. The same mistake which Sudan made by investing in the capital nation and suffered a lot. Now let's look at the real GDP growth of Rwanda, which shows us that service sector has been a major lead in its growth. Delving deeper into the aspect, the real estate, accommodation, entertainment, which majorly encompasses the tourist sector, are a pillar of its strong GDP. Now, let's look at what Rwanda is offering to its tourism. Well, from here analysis, we can see that there has been 83% of absence of eco-lodges overall in Rwanda, with 15% of lodges present only in rural region. Despite having 1.6 million of international travel, this stark mismatch shows us that the tourist demand are not actually being catered in Rwanda. Few things to note about Rwanda is that it is the sixth safest country for travel in the world and third safest for women. World Bank data shows us that Rwanda has been marked as the second easiest country for doing business in Africa. Now we are going to focus on why we are only choosing for nature-based tourism in Rwanda. Well, we can see that Rwanda's tourism industry suffered a remarkable growth of 6.7 million in 2004 to its peak of $617 million in 2019, but suffered a drastic blow during the COVID. Well, now we are going to further expand upon the opportunities in Rwanda.
The Rwandan government is investing in ecotourism because Rwanda has rich nature and tourism is its highest bread earner. With unemployment rates shooting by 3.5% in Q2 2024, this industry is cultured as it has the potential to generate 8 to 7.3k job openings currently as per market evaluation. Tourists are also eager to experience rural tourism with a connection to nature. Hence, this industry is booming at a market valuation of US dollar 102.7 billion. And also we can see the demand gap. If we analyze the Ecolodges market of Rwanda, we will see that the tourists still want to experience authentic Rwandan nature but cannot do so due to lack of accommodation and seasonality in demands. Still, the government is trying hard enough to encourage that by putting up websites so that their foreign investors such as India and other countries who are friendly to Rwanda can take part in it as well. But the problem lies in the fragmentation of the market, and that is very few key players are dominating the market, and even they are not also native to Rwanda. Here we establish our idea, that is Verdanest. If I have to tell you about Verdanest as an elevator pitch, it is an unforgettable hospitality experience powered by renewable energy by the virtue of establishing microgrids, and it is empowering the community and making youth employable in a genocide-struck country like Rwanda and promoting sustainable tourism. Now meet Trevor, a 32-year-old avid traveler from California, USA. His love for nature has attracted him towards East Africa for the third time, but this was his first time in Rwanda. He stayed at some place 8 kilometers away from Volcanoes National Park where he had come to visit, and it was $90 per night and he had a decent experience. But he is environment conscious, and so he felt that effect of nature was a bit augmented and the amenities he availed costs the nature more. As you see, our offerings as a venture are more lucrative to people like Trevor, encompassing sustainability, affordability, nested in comfort. Now we go deeper into analysis of our venture.
Looking at the factors which would benefit us in a venture for Verdanest, looking at the pesticide analysis, the key factor benefiting us would be the government policies for renewable energy and promoting tourism in rural Rwanda. But one key thing to notice in the legal aspect is that if we are not adhering to the tourist regulations, government will bring heavy sanctions due to its strict policy of tourist behaviors. Now we are looking at the market analysis and we are aiming to target the initial market of 10 million US dollars with the business model mostly being B2C and partially B2B due to we are trying to cater towards our Rwanda's Visit Rwanda flagship program, which in partnership with football clubs like FC Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, and Arsenal. The Porter source analysis show that this market is ripe for opening a tourist venture here. Now let's delve deeper into our vision.
As sustainability is the main theme of this event, we want to garner your attention towards the UN SDGs we are mitigating. Those are 1, 7, 8, 9, and 13. With RDB, RUDA, and Mininfra as our government side stakeholders, we aim to target the people's aspect of sustainability over the surface meaning of environment, which overlooks the individual who live in it. Now heading to our operational nitty-gritty.
Now
Over to
here is our tourist lodges that we'll be providing, the artist impression of the lodges. The main energy operation would be, we would be acquiring biomass since Rwanda's major energy is uses of biomass. So we will acquire biomass from the rural community and use it to power up our eco lodges while training the local communities so they are better equipped to cater to the visiting tourists. Now, any business can fail or succeed based on the implementation strategy. So let's take a look at ours.
So we strategize for the first 3 quarters of pilot year to invest in our B2B channel, and then we go to revenue generation and post-expansion phase. On the other hand, we are going to launch marketing campaigns year-long to various portals such as SEO, social media, and government level existing programs such as Visit Rwanda and collaborate with businesses. We will slowly implement different features such as Verdaness Plus and overall adventure tourism end-to-end suite as well to check the behavior of our customers. We proceed to focus on how we create brand differentiation.
Now, delving into the competitive landscape, we can see that the one of the major competitors in our business would be Signita Corp travel agency. But in one aspect, the suffering majorly is their affordability because Signita is one of the most poor performing in scale of affordability of the rest of the competitors who have sustainability in mind. Well, a SWOT analysis will show us that our key strength would be utilizing government's policies, which will provide us power at lower tariff. Our main focus would be customer satisfaction. So it's not a one and done, but a whole experience that they can enjoy end to end. Now let's look at some of the campaign we have decided for Verdaness. Well, here we are showing out the offerings that we can provide for Verdaness. Well, here the solar nest, which are the solar theme lodges for tourists, and aqua nest, where tourists can enjoy the cool breeze of its rivers, and bio nest for able to get the nature's touch and experience of the surreal forest. For a pilot plan, we are aiming to launch the
Team
Verda
Eagle,
nest.
your time is over.
Yeah.
Your 10
So,
minutes are
judges,
over.
we are open for
Yeah, we'll
questions.
proceed with question and answers. Judges, you can please proceed with the questions.
Hello.
Hardik, Samyukta, you want to go first? Hello.
Sir, I'm okay.
By the way, have any one of you been to Rwanda?
Sir, actually, Aditri has
In Kigali specifically.
You've been there?
Yeah, for a short visit.
Okay. And I have also been there, but it looks like it's a very scary place, right? The
Yes,
people are
and
going with the guns
sorry,
and
sir.
machine guns and all kind of things, and who is going to go there for the...
Yeah, and also I feel like the thing is that like the development I've done in first year, especially in the rural, is really amazing. Like from Kigali spreading out, it was really fun to watch. And while doing the project and while we contact the professors out there.
All right. So, one of your colleague has given this example of ecotourism and all, and this is kind of a fashion that everybody uses all these very fancy words. Let me ask this question. You given somebody, from coming from US to Rwanda, and then it's a ecotourism, right? If you just take his flight carbon emission, it comes to almost 6,000 kilograms. Nowhere in your entire Vardhanes you can actually compensate such a carbon emission. So, in what way it will going to be ecotourism? I hope you look at this broader picture. If somebody is going from outside, how much carbon cost?
Definitely. Sir, yeah, one aspect in that is that the major aspect of tourism that we visit in Rwanda, mostly in cases of setting up businesses or in their partnership programs with Rwanda. So, in one aspect that the most of the tourists that are centered in Kigali, they are usually using the great power that provided there, because for using those power are very easy to expand upon. Like I can set up 2, 3 more hotels nearby and I can use the great power. It's easily accessible, but only in Kigali. While in the rural region, where while overall Rwanda is majorly use, I guess 74% of biomass. So we can, in at least, even if not the communication, but at least the stay we can reduce the impact majorly, because in grid energy, most cases it uses coal power, because in very rare cases are the power plants usually nuclear power. So in coal, the amount of the overall gases that it releases really have a major impact in the overall sustainability.
What percentage of electricity in Rwanda is generated with hydro?
Hydro is around, I believe, 7%, and mostly 74% is biomass, and rest, I believe, is the electricity.
No, I didn't get it. My question is, how much percentage of electricity in Rwanda comes from hydro and coal?
Sir, the hydro percent is, I believe, around 7%, and the coal percent is around, I believe, 15%, if I got my data.
Yeah, so that's not much, no? That's again
But
the problem.
74% of the energy, 74% of the energy generated, they're usually using actually focusing on the biomass of its rural region.
What's wrong with that?
No, sir, wrong is there's nothing wrong. But major aspect is that the grid that mostly used in Kigali, it's mainly based on the generated from coal. And the development of Rwanda is so skewed that the electricity aspect will continue growing, and the demand for coal is not increasing that much. Demand for biomass is not increasing, but the demand for coal energy in the grid is very much increasing. So if it's not expanded, if the tourism is not expanded up to other regions of Kigali and outside Kigali, then the biomass will never increase.
Okay.
And also, sir, the entire Rwandan population is also having a habitual shift, because the coal was involved in many smuggling cases and also due to environmental pollution. That's why Rwandan government had to legally ban coal for household purposes mostly, which was 80% of the household things Rwandan people used. So the entire Rwandan community is also having a habitual shift in that regard. So they are shifting to biomass as well, and companies from Central Africa are plunging in Rwanda to set up their entire businesses regarding biomass and bioethanol, and they are very potential of our partners to be.
And sir, I feel like the situation is just like this eyeshadow palette out there. It might look as unsustainable, but this is a creativity we're using to make it sustainable and using and for long term.
Okay, thank you. Thank you from my side. That's it.
You want to go, Samyukta? Should I go first?
I can go. If you're okay.
No, I can go. It's fine. Yeah, just asking if you want to go. I can go. Yeah, either way, it's fine. Thanks for the presentation, guys. Just want to understand. Just take a step back and give me like an elevator pitch from a consumer point of view for what your ecotourism solution is about and how it compares to Sangeeta, because that one is the champion in this space, right? Or even though they might not be as efficient as you want them to be.
Yes, sir. Please take it back a bit.
Elevator pitch means like 30 seconds, nothing more than that.
Yes, yes, I understand.
Yeah, first off.
Yes, actually, our business is focusing on modifying the rural houses like in a BNB model, and modifying them with local resources and local things, with suppose resources such as dead wood, which we are getting from locals, and modifying it in a ethnic way and making it a piece of luxury which does not hamper the environment, and the power is ran through biomass, because that is a necessity in rural Rwanda, not a fancy thing to do, because there is a huge disconnect with the grid in case of Rwanda. Whereas Sangeeta, I guess, I don't think focuses that on the people's aspect, and we are focusing on the people's aspect and tying up people and making them employable through for hospitality in the entire Eastern African zone.
As Sir Chetan sir also famously said during his great talk, that one aspect is we create business, but it's end up creating the more problems. So thus we have created such a framework that instead of creating problems, we're also taking account of the problems already present and providing a long-term solution, not directly by this, but also some passive way. So as a consumer, we are not, as a consumer or in the sense of Sangeeta overall, they do not focus on that. They are solely focusing on the travel aspect, but we're not just keeping ourselves converged out there. We are diverging to many aspects like eliminating poverty, providing workshops, and we have also mentioned out there. So we are branching into many aspects that our present competitors are not focusing on. And since it's always best to hit when the iron is hot, we are doing that thing, being the pioneer and some of the first persons to start this, because there's always a beginner's advantage in everywhere.
Yeah, but it's a very capital intensive business, right? Where would you get the funding from? I think the capital requirement itself is 1.1 million, if I'm not wrong, to begin with.
Yes, sir. Actually, you got that value actually right. That's a requirement. But in most aspect is that if we are aiming to start it, then mostly the funding has to be taken outsourced through a loan or other collaboration problem like in equity or something, that we will get the money for a portion of our shares. So, but one key thing would be that even if we're targeting 0.05% of all the travelers that coming to Rwanda, we can still, if from an evaluation, we can still be able to generate and get our cost back within 2 to 3 years if we play the card right. I know that
So
might sound a very optimistic figure.
0.05% is an excellent conversion rate, by the way. If you're running paid marketing campaigns on like international portals, you'll be spending a lot of money on that, first of all. And even if you convert 1% of half of the 1% of the users, that's a lot of, but that requires for you to first invest that much amount of money. So that is just what I'm wondering. Yeah, that's all from me. Thanks.
Sir, actually, one thing amazing that Rwanda has under its rule book, it's in the Rule 22 of for businesses out there, basically in the website. They have very strict rules for what kind of business they're actually funding. So in this case, since we're sustainable business, a lot of all the costing are going to taken by government themselves. And one of the greatest advantage we have out there, since you have only mentioned that all businesses are done separately and sustainable is implemented by their own fashion. No, it's not like a blueprint everyone follows. So one thing very amazing about Rwanda is that they have mandatory community service for all the people out there. Every month it's done Umugada. So out there, the labor and every cost is already covered by the policy itself. Since we are under sustainable, they will have to work because it's a government thing. And since we're working also providing community others, as we mentioned, there has been a huge genocide, especially in the rural region, and it's a landlocked area. Since Congo is under fire and Burundi is like one of the worst out there. So people are out there wanting to do something for their country because they do not want to be the second Sudan 2.0 that has collapsed in 2019, as we all have seen in the news. So thus government will provide that. And since India is one of the biggest investor, due to 2020, 200 million belt of money was actually, corridor was open between Rwanda and India. So that was a facility. And for a double check, I've also gone to their website to see how much is needed to actually do. And I also reached out to University of Rwanda professors. So the funding part is actually covered by the government itself. Since it's so capital intensive, they will be giving out there. So that's like one of the greatest advantage we have. And
Okay.
since Samyukta ma'am, and she is working in Sephora, just like Sephora concept also there, like using eco packaging in case of packaging. There are so many lodges out there in the rural region waiting for the chance to show people what they are. From consumer point, we also want authenticity. No one wants fake in this world. And they're just waiting for the chance to show everyone. So therefore, they are more than willing to help us. And I've also personally reached to many villages in Nikumbu or in Southern over the past few years because we wanted to make it a reality, not just a big brand or just a PPT to be showcased out there and then forget it the very next day. So yes, and we have talked, and the idea we have also talked it out there, and they have provided a framework, and many are also trying. Many people are also trying to do, and especially the rural people are more than happy. And especially the local, since it's a corruption-free land, which is a many thing too. And in this election, the same government has been elected since the past 20 years. So there is a huge stability. We will not face any political instability or sudden changes of rule, which my Jatna sir asks, what if the policy is taken the next day? Then kya hoga? So this is the greatest advantage we have out there. Beat capital, beat resource, beat everything. It's actually out there, just waited for us to use our innovations as engineers and course engineering students especially to just repackage it to a form that's going to be lasting forever.
Thank you.
I heard the bell ring. Can we take one more question?
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So I'll make this very quick. Let's assume you're going to get the funding that you just told Hardik, that the government will have to fund, this project, and all of it is going to get funded. I did see what you all have mentioned under marketing, and since you all have given everything a lot of thought, and you said you traveled personally to the country as well. If you were to just quickly make a one-line campaign, right? Like you don't get too much time on social anymore, right?
Yes.
If Hardik spoke to you about a 30-second elevator pitch, you know that today's attention span is not more than 8 seconds before the next swipe up and the next scroll keeps happening. If you were to grab that attention of that 32-year-old traveler from California, what would that ad read?
As I mentioned, our actually tagline is like your closest milestone to nature. In this world of only fake promises and hoping to change the world sitting in our room, let us present us with a chance to actually visit and experience it by your own self, which you can not just tell it to your friends and everyone, and you can make an impact personally. This is what Wilderness is all about. We are providing you the closest chance to nature, closest and to one of the first time opportunity to make a change to the places you have been, and to have a memory for lifelong, a memory that you can share to your grandparents and set as an example for the upcoming future. Your one step is the second chance for your next friend, and this is going to change the whole site and whole area of the area that has never been given a chance before.
This is 5 times more than 8 seconds.
Yes, I think so.
Thank you.
So if we have to say it in 8 seconds, so it would be Vardanest, your closest milestone to nature. That's it.
Correct. And would that land? Do you think all of that investment with that line is actually is it addressing the problem statement? Is it addressing the consumer need? And is it actually, like you spoke about, a 0.05% conversion? Do you actually see that happening with that line that you just mentioned? It's just something to think about. I'll leave you guys with that, but just think about it.
Yes, ma'am. As of now, the projection is actually addressing, and this is also the demand of everyone out there. And this same model is actually applied in my own state. So we know this is going to attract a lot of people that out there. Since my family is personally funding that area, entire area, and my ancestors also there. So in Purulia case, the same model has been applied, and everyone now is always going there.
Great. Thank you, team. Now we have Team Bright Mind. So
Thank you
please
so much,
present.
judges. It was lovely.
And just a reminder to all the teams, please try to keep your answers short so we can give the same amount of time to every team.
This is Kartavya from Team Bright Mind. Should I just share my screen? I hope it is visible.
Yes, please. It's visible. Please share the presentation.
Yeah, the presentation is visible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just get started. So, hello everyone. The problem that we are here to solve is greenwashing. So, let us take a look at the problem from an eagle's eye. So, by 2030, India has committed to reduce its carbon emissions by 45%, and that accounts for an emission of $170 billion per year. But we are not able to do even half of that. And the thing that's stopping investors from coming in is a transparency issue, which is greenwashing. So let me just explain to you quickly what greenwashing is. Let me take an example of Adani. So using hypothetical numbers, let's say Adani says that over the next 5 years, I would like to plant 2,000 trees. Now investors will see this and be very happy. They say, okay, green initiatives, let me invest in it. However, when we see their previous BRSR reports, their previous company reports, we see that, okay, they are only planting 20 trees a year. Now this huge shift from 20 trees a year to 200, 300, 500 trees a year, how will they actually make that shift? And there you would say that, okay, when we go to 2030, the share price will drop because they haven't met their green targets. And this is what greenwashing is, fooling the investor using false targets. And this is the problem that we are here to solve. The solving this problem will benefit the private investors. Obviously, they know what the value is. Corporates will look to distinguish themselves from other companies who do greenwashing, and obviously there's the support of government who actually supports all the green initiatives. So the solution that we have over here is GreenGauge, which is an integrated platform which will give us a greenwashing score along with other industry and company reports and provide recommendations on how they should adapt, what targets they should give. So what is the greenwashing score? It is the core of our product, and it is the difference, as you can see, between apparent green score and the actual green score, which is the difference between how they have aimed to perform, how they have told that on a Twitter platform they will do this, and how they are actually performing. Continuing the example of before, let's say Adani, they said that, okay, 2,000 trees in 5 years. This is an e-score. This comes in the domain of e-score environmental score. So here here the investors say, okay, 2,000 trees, very nice. Apparent green score says 2,000 trees, very nice. It means a high score. On the other hand, what is the real performance, which is shown by the actual green score? They say only 20 trees per year for the past few years. Okay, they read the BRSR report. They go through 20 trees a year and they allot a low score because of the poor performance. Now you can, so all this is done using a natural language processing layer. So you can see they have a low score of real performance and a high score of apparent performance. And this high difference shows that there is a high risk of greenwashing. They might be faking it. So over here, the same thing is done for the social and governance part. And over here, making the LHS equal to RHS is something that we want to do over here. The thing that they are committing to and the thing that they will achieve by 2030. This is something that we want to measure. So the higher the gap between the apparent score and the real score, the higher is the greenwashing risk. So we don't only give the score, obviously, we give a whole report. A tentative summary, tentative index on the report is on the right, where we give the industry and the sustainable practices report, but also how the score is calculated to ensure transparency. What are the instances that lead to the apparent and real score, and what are the instances where they have faked any claims, they have made wrong claims, past records, such things. So this is the product. However, how does the market for it look? So in India, only in India, the market is around $195 million. And you'll be amazed to know that this is growing at a rate of 30%, which is around the same of how the green investments in India are poised to grow. And this is expected to sustain over 5 to 10 years, which I think makes it a very attractive market for us. So how do we actually monetize this market? What will be our monetization model? So this is going to be a three-pronged approach. The first two prongs are with respect to monetization, and the third prong is partnerships which accelerate our growth. So the first prong is very simple. We have those reports. We just sell it to IBs, PE, and VC. So this will be on a subscription model where it will be purchased quarterly whenever claims are made or whenever new reports are published. And we expect a price of around 15K rupees per report. The second is I told you about the corporates. They want to distinguish themselves from others who do greenwashing. In the top 50, in the Nifty 50, 26 of the companies have been caught greenwashing. So the rest 24 will come to us. They'll say, hey man, these other companies are doing greenwashing and we are just getting lumped in with them. Why don't you give us a recommendation that we can put out in the media that we are not actually greenwashing? And since this is numerical, people are going to trust us. So this is going to be on an annual subscription basis, for which we expect a price of around 1 lakh per certification. So you can see the number of expected revenue below. The third prong is partnership. So this is very crucial because this will act as a catalyst for our growth. Partnership with political parties like BJP who support green initiatives. If BJP doesn't take us, we'll go to Congress and so on. So there's obviously scope for something. Then credit scoring agencies to improve our model, and then a sandbox environment by the with the National Green Tribunal will definitely help our cause, both with respect to data as well as regulations. In fact, we are already in partnership. We are already working with Finance Department of IMA to improve our score, to get in touch with with investors and validate the whole idea. So how do we operationalize it? So how we are going to do it is through our value proposition and brand position. So we want to, so our value proposition is that our assessments are transparent, they are verifiable. They help investors to invest responsibility and with compliance support. And finally, we want to be positioned as an expert in subject knowledge. So how are we going to operationalize it is through our marketing and sales channels, where customer education is very important. I'll say it again, customer education is very important because we are a first mover. So regular posts and videos are important, which will bring in the pull. Apart from that, we'll also go to trade show and business events. And obviously SEO is very crucial because the first place that an investor goes to is Google. And then finally, push marketing is going to be very important for the start, where we'll do in-person sales. So you can see over here in our profit statement, there are 2 revenue sources where we have forecasted the number of clients and the costs. And you can see that will be loss making for the first 2 years, but by the 3rd year, we should be expecting profits and good margins, which will continue. So you've seen the revenue model, you've seen the financial model, you've seen the product. However, I would like to again emphasize on the urgency of the situation that is over here. On the right, you can see a graph of the investments that have been made in ESG mutual funds in India. And it was actually poised to grow at 25 to 30% from 2022 to 2023. However, it took a dip of 17%, and most of it was actually attributed to greenwashing. And since this is now, you can see it at a macro level. It's not only with 1 investors or 2 investors. It is now visible in the whole of India. And this really shows the urgency. The government is supporting such green initiatives. 24 of those 50 companies actually need such certification, such scores. So, and even the market, it's poised to grow at 30%. So we should definitely enter this market. However, why should you invest in us only? Primarily because we have an end-to-end solution that solves all of this. We'll be the first to enter in the market. So we have the first mover advantage. We'll be the trendsetters, we'll be the market leaders. And since it's an emerging market, I'm sure that we will grow very fast. And with our combined efforts, with our combined experience at investment banks, at consulting companies, and even in companies such as NTPC, who are on the receiving end of it, I'm sure that we will be able to execute this very, very properly. Lastly, I would like to end by saying that our initiative is really going to help the green environment, primarily due to 2 reasons. Firstly, the investors will invest more responsibility, more towards green initiatives, which will be followed by more green initiatives, and which obviously helps. But the second reason over here is, now that companies know there is a body, we can regulate them. We can call them out if they make false claims. That helps that will lead them to making better claims, following up with their green initiatives, and doing everything better. And we feel that this will help us make a more green environment, and we will be able to and on going forward with this journey, we would actually like to have your support as well. Thank you. Happy to take on any questions or anything. Yeah.
Just before we start, I would like to mention that we would be timing the answers in interest of time and brevity. So, team, please try to keep your answers to 1 minute.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Can you run me through the process of creating the real score once again, just from
Okay.
the technology side? Yeah.
Sure. So the actual, the real score, I'll take you through the actual green score first. So over here, this comes from the BRSR report where they have made claims around what they have done, all in E, S, and G. So using NLP algorithms, we catch keywords, catch the sentiments that they are listed with in the BRSR report, and using that we create scores of E, S, and G. Now these three scores need to be weighted, and how we are weighting them is based on the past performance correlation with of E, S, and G, how much a company has done in a sector. So let's say if I'm talking about NTPC, it's in the power production sector. So in that sector, how have the factors of E, S, and G in the past correlated with the financial performance? And using those weights, we will find out the final real ESG score. Manav, would you like to add something? No.
No, I think the same way we will go about with the apparent score. The only difference will be the sources that we're referring to. Those will be the different.
We can elaborate further, but stopping here in the interest of time. Yeah.
And all this,
No,
these reports. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hardik. If you...
Yeah, I just had a quick follow-up on this. Like where are you getting the reports from? So the BRSI reports will be available from the corporate filings, I believe.
Yeah.
But like the apparent green score, you said you're getting it from articles?
Yeah.
Yes. So basically, these sources are very diversified, which we'll be looking for. These can come from Bloomberg. These can come from Google web search, and obviously we'll have APIs to.
Will you be manually? So I'm just trying to understand the technical feasibility of implementing the solution, right? So would you be, would you be crawling through all of these websites to get the information for each of the companies that are listed on the NSE, or what will be your process there? Which companies would you be doing the research for?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. This is a completely automated process. So the APIs will pull in the reports, identify which company that report is for, and do a sentiment analysis if it is really with that report. Because many other reports will mention Adani as their stock price has dropped today. So such reports have to be filtered out, obviously. But all of it is currently being done using natural language processing only. And I would say the accuracy is quite good.
Professor Solanki, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So good idea. I think greenwashing is a bit of a danger in the place when everybody is trying to do that. You already answered the question while replying to Hardik. What I want to ask is this reports and this index you'll be creating for every company, or when there is a request that comes to you, and if somebody is willing to pay the fee, then you are going to do it.
So that this is a completely automated process which with most of the informations available real time. So this can be done real time. And how it is demanded, since it is done completely automated, it does not take a lot of time to process and create the report. So it will be done on that basis. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, so mainly it will operate as a Bloomberg or Refinitiv type of site where all the reports will be there. And as and when they need access, we will provide them with the reports. The report will be generated and kept with us for the companies in real time.
Yeah.
For all the companies.
So you can envision a screen where we have the companies or a name of companies. They can click get reports. Once they click get reports in the backend, the report will be generated and it will be made available to them, given their payment, obviously. But yeah.
All right. Thanks.
If you're building everything on top of the Bloomberg data itself, and Bloomberg is your primary source of information, can't they just build this as an extension in the platform?
Yeah, so we anticipated this question, but actually we are not operating only on Bloomberg. It's just an example to show like how our platform will look like. there will be Twitter sources where the company officially states the statements are there.
That's what I said. So when you're talking about, when I asked the question, where will you be collating all the data from? You
Yeah,
just mentioned that you'll get it from Bloomberg. It's an entirely automated process. It's not that simple. I've built these platforms, so
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand how you're going to pull it off.
Yeah.
So yeah, the expertise obviously lying in getting the information, and it will be on Bloomberg, but that is only one of the sources. There will be multiple other sources. Economic Times news, what they are claiming in different news channels obviously matters a lot. So all these is not completely available on Bloomberg, and
So
that
that's
is
what I asked, right? Initially,
Yeah.
like, would you be scraping articles, news sites,
Yeah.
everything? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we can
Yeah,
move on.
so yeah, I had mentioned Bloomberg, Google sources, the newspaper sources, and Twitter and other social media sources, as well as company website. Yeah, sorry.
You said you want to become the Bloomberg of this entire gray arena of greenwashing, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic dream to have. It's extremely lofty. How long do you think it takes to build a brand for you to become the go-to source, the ultimate? While let's assume you get the automated API, like you said, it's all there, and you can pull everything. Like Hardik just told you, practically speaking, may not really work like that in the real world. But let's assume you have a magical wand where everything else comes together. You have something beautiful, like the way you guys have envisioned. You create, okay?
Yeah.
Why should anyone come to you, in the sense, why will you become the ultimate authority? How do you become the, why will you become the go-to person? How will you build a brand like that? How will you become the Bloomberg?
Yeah. So I would like to take that question. Just one correction, ma'am. This green score is already being calculated by other platforms, MSCI in Europe. So the idea we got was from there, referring to that. We are the first mover in India. So in India, the companies, the listed companies, no one is doing it for them. So that is where we come in. And to answer your question, why we would only be the go-to source for all the companies, it's because of our value proposition. Our main value proposition is invest responsibly. So the main thing that investors are looking for is returns in any investment. So that is where we want to catch them. We know the returns are there. As you can see, the returns are there. It's around 16 to 32% it is giving. So you just have, because we are now there to support you to choose the right companies to invest in. So once you hit that point of the investor with both the returns and invest responsibly, the trust already builds in. And that is why we have
Team, your 1 minute is over to answer the question.
May I add something or maybe later?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so I would just like to add that I agree with the point of marketing. However, in the financial world, I feel that it's all about statistics. And if we are able to show results, we will be able to do it. And based on our research up till now, based on what we have done with the professor, with the financial department, the results are really good. And with respect to the time for building a brand, I feel that the results of 2 years should be enough to show the performance. And once investors find success, obviously the word of mouth will get around. Sorry to go over time. Yeah.
So just a quick, so again, it seems, I think all of us will agree that it's a lovely thought. I think little real worldness is kind of missing in this space for two reasons. One, not that easy in a country like India, just get a little deeper into the financial space here. And while people will tell you, yes, we will do it, when you get down to brass tacks, it's not going to work in the same manner as you're envisioning it at this point in time.
Okay.
Two, one is you have to build this brand. Even if you build this brand, you have to then work really hard to ensure that first mover advantage does not necessarily mean you become the best in class.
Definitely.
You've all seen examples of
Have to work out.
Facebook is irrelevant today. So it does not mean that you become the first mover advantage. You kind of, own the market. It does not going to be a monopolistic market. So I think just get down to a little more brass tacks in terms of how it will actually pan out from a marketing standpoint. One, how are you going to actually build this brand, become the go-to, ensure that you get enough people to kind of believe in what you're saying, because you could have a great narrative at home, but then it's like keeping a Mona Lisa at home. Like you need to get there. How are you going to do that? Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
So just to finish, I'll be short. I can completely take the responsibility of the product because it has been working very marvelously over the 15 to 20 companies that we have tried it on from the Nifty 50, and even the investors that we have gotten in touch with, they have actually given pretty positive results and they were actually convinced pretty quickly. And I feel that is where the whole financial domain comes into play, because the main thing over here is going to be results. I know I'm repeating myself, but yeah, that is just something that I wanted to add. Anything else?
We wish you luck.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you, team. Next up, we have the Happy Club.
May I present my screen?
Yes, please.
Is it visible?
Yes, please start.
Hi, Mukta. Am I audible?
Yeah, Darshi, you're audible.
Good evening, jury. BlackRock states that India today is producing 6 million metric ton of spun yarn that consumes around 10 million metric ton of cotton. If we'll go more deeper into it, so 0.5% of that cotton goes into the waste dust, that is around 50,000 metric ton. What we are doing with it right now, we are just burning it. Jury, we, the team, the Happy Club, welcomes you to the world of blocks. Priyansha, could we move to the next slide? Blocks is made up of two words, block and textile. As Professor Solanki rightly mentioned, that it's a high time to balance the equations. Our product is not only economical or environmentally viable, but it's socially acceptable as well. If we go forward, we just targeted the ESG parameters with the blocks. If we look at the environmental aspect, it is not only reducing the carbon footprints, but it is giving you the resource efficiency as well as the sustainable production. Because of its cost effectiveness, it's socially acceptable and it is quite lucrative to attract the government incentives as well. Jury, before we move forward, we have done some primary research over the shop floor. We have met with some textile experts, and let us see what that unit head has to say.
हेलो, मेरा नाम विनय कुमार है। मैं TYV1 का प्रोडक्शन मैनेजर हूँ। हमारा प्लांट का पर डे प्रोडक्शन 18 मेट्रिक टन है, इसमें 27.6 मेट्रिक टन कॉटन यूज होती है, जिसमें कि अपना पर डे का 3 मेट्रिक टन वायर निकलते हैं, जिसको कि हम अपना ओपन एंड में कंज्यूम कर लेते हैं। और कॉटन डस्ट 0.4% आते हैं, और अगर केजी में बात करें तो अपना 2.6 मेट्रिक टन आते हैं, जिसको कि हम अपना बॉयलर प्लांट है उसमें कंज्यूम कर लेते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Jury, the figure he has mentioned, that is 0.4%, looks small, but it's really concerning. We have done some problem identification as well. Apart from the increasing textile waste, second one is the emission and the carbon footprint that particular textile waste is increasing day by day. Third being the lack of green building materials. Today, the construction industry is growing in leaps and bounds, and there is a high time that we require a green material or a concrete solution. So here is our big idea where we are changing the textile waste into the paver blocks with our unique recipe, blend with the cotton dust, using some additives like gypsum and fly ash. We have come up with our MVP that is known as blocks. We have done some laboratory testings as well. And as IS code 15658 states that there should be a minimum Pascal range of a particular block. So our block range falls in the range of B grade pure block. You can here see that we have reached the threshold of at the 25% of the composition of this cotton waste. And we have observed that this particular thing follows the inverted U curve. So at 2575, we have found our optimal range. We have also done the pastel analysis for this particular block. It's not only politically attractive, but because of the slash in manufacturing cost by 3 rupees, it's economically also viable. Regarding technology, it's very easy to manufacture and a quite of asset light model, and it's not going to become a capital intensive model. Environmentally, no need to say again, it's quite viable, and legally also in today's world where we are talking about the SDG goals, we are talking about the carbon trading, it's a legally viable solution. Priyansha will walk you through the branding and the unit economics of this particular product.
So the impact that this product creates is strategically, financially, as well as environmentally feasible. Strategically, this appeals with the CSR goals of a company by consuming green construction material within the production process. Financially, as others already mentioned, it has a cost price that is 3 rupees lesser than that of conventional paper blocks. Environmentally, it supports UN's SDG goals as well as the scope 1 emissions, which would be described later on. Moving on to the marketing fit, our product is targeted majorly at the construction companies, government bodies, as well as the textile mills. We would be positioning our product as mostly with its environmental benefits, and not only that, but also its cost effectiveness, as the product is approximately 3 to 4 rupees cheaper than the conventional blocks. And moving on, we would also be getting the certifications of agencies like CETRA and ATERA to ensure the authenticity as well as the branding of the product. We would be running various campaigns. We would be going through events, industrial events, as well as expos to create awareness about our product as well as the problem. Moving on to the financial viability as well as the financial analysis. The product is low on cost, mainly because of the raw material cost. The EBITDA per 1,000 square feet is approximately 4,000, and whereas that for conventional blocks is approximately 1,000, creating a delta shift of rupees 3,000 per 1,000 square feet of pavement. Now we have made a video of our MVP as well as the production process of our process of repurposing the textile waste into eco blocks. Now Ayushi would be guiding you through our other factors.
So how are we going to address the challenges? For this, let's have an industry insight. Out of total flooring market in India, paperwork accounts for around 20% of market share, and its major businesses comes from broader home improvement and DIY market in India. And the industry is expected to grow at a CAGR of 3.13% from 2024 to 28. And our target customer would be builders, contractors, textile manufacturers. Under our initiative, or say the big idea, what we are targeting is to reduce the scope 1 emission. For this, we have dig down deeper on the shop floor. We have had discussions with few of the unit heads. Let me walk you through a typical waste generation value chain in a yarn manufacturing unit. Suppose we had discussion with one of the unit heads. What he mentioned is to produce 30 metric tons of yarn per day, they produce around 0.3 metric tons of cotton dust that is unusable, and the monthly dust comes out to be around 4 to 5 tons a month. And what they are doing, they are just sampling, feeding it to the boiler. That is in a way generating carbon dioxide of carbon dioxide of around more than 1.5 kilograms for each kg of burn that is produced. And for this, we are proposing our idea. With BlockX, we will working as an aggregator platform, wherein we will be onboarding the textile industry and manufacturers so that to maintain the steady supply chain of the material. And for the production part, we will be onboarding the local manufacturers and the local players within the geographical radius of 100 kilometers. And we will be outsourcing end-to-end manufacturing costs. This will reduce our operational costs. And apart from it, our API will help the companies, the textile manufacturers, to get them green coins that will help them comply with the ESG norms under the BSR, BR and SR reports. We will hire third-party authorized organizations such as Atira, Bitra, etc. as an auditing partner that will ensure the
Team Happy
transparency.
Club, your time is over. 10 minutes are over. We'll now proceed to question and answer.
Yeah, so that's it from our side. Actually, we're done with the revenue streams. We are open to question and answers.
Hi, thanks. Good idea. When it comes to the blocks that you've shown us, what are the technical properties? I mean, imagine that something coming from the dust from the the yarn industry, would it be, you know, as long lasting as the blocks made out of cement, for example? So what are the parameters, or have you done any testing?
Yes, sir. So as we can see in the very first slide, that we have done testing with the different compositions, as you rightly mentioned about the actual composition. So if we talk about, let's say, M25 grade of cement or concrete, where the 28 days strength is 25 megapascal, we tried the same with the similar composition. We have added a unique recipe of admixtures, gypsum, and you would be glad to know that butadiene styrene rubber, that particular agent, is working tremendously with this recipe. And you can see we are able to achieve the strength of 6.5 megapascal, and it is the 7 days strength. And we are expecting it to grow at 17 megapascal. That is according to IS 15658. It's under the B grade range of the paver blocks.
And what about the longevity of this? I mean, what is the life cycle? What is the lifetime of such blocks? I mean,
so sir, as we talk about the lifetime of this particular block, it will remain same as we can see in the cement or concrete based blocks. Is just one thing that is differentiating is it's about the compressive strength that cotton is giving it. Cotton is giving to it. Yes, water absorbency somewhere could be the problem, but it could be researched further. But right now, it's within the range of 9%. Once it goes beyond 12%, then it will be a problem. So in this case, we are good to go with water absorbency as well.
I see. Okay, thanks.
So, hi everyone. I think first off, very good job on the presentation. I think it was a very clean flow throughout. So yeah, good job done there. I'd just like to ask a quick question on the TG bit. You all did mention that you will be speaking to builders. I heard you mention contractors. There is another element here that you've missed completely. Do you know what that is?
In terms of customers, ma'am?
Yes.
So our primary target is going to be the textile mills itself. And ma'am, you would be glad to know that we are able to bag our first order, hypothetical order from the same unit for 1,000 square feet of the pavement. So I guess this idea is going really smooth. Second one, we are going to target the government contractors and the government projects. And third, as you're mentioning that we are missing out on something, so it could be household-based floorings, or it could be the floorings that we are using. I would request Priyansha if we can give this particular answer with our last video that we have recorded. Priyansha, can we go to the last slide? It will just take, ma'am, 20 seconds. I just need your 20 seconds here. Sorry for the technical glitch here. I guess good things take time always. So
हेलो, मेरा नाम सचिन श्रीवास्तव है। मैं काफ़ी समय से ईंट ब्रिक्स का और पेवर ब्लॉक का काम कर रहा हूं। हमने सीमेंट, सैंड ये सब की कॉस्ट ज़्यादा आती है, जिसकी वजह से ट्रेडिशनल ब्रिक्स बनाना की लागत ज़्यादा आती है। फिर काफ़ी मैनुअल काम करने होते हैं तो लेबर कॉस्ट भी बढ़ती है और टाइम भी लगता है, तो वहाँ भी काफ़ी कॉस्ट आती है हमारी। आजकल सब लोग इको फ्रेंडली ऑप्शन चूज करना चाहते हैं। हमारे लिए 3 रीज़न होंगे: ऑटोमेशन, लेस लेबर कॉस्ट एंड मार्केट डिमांड, चीप रॉ मटेरियल। हाँ, पिछले कुछ सालों में मार्केट में काफ़ी इको फ्रेंडली ब्लॉक्स की डिमांड आई है, स्पेशली फ्लोरिंग इंडस्ट्री में, और हमें भी बिजनेस बढ़ाने के लिए ऐसे ही ऑप्शन चाहिए, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट भी आजकल ऐसी स्कीम पे सब्सिडी देती है जो हमारे लिए फ़ायदे का सौदा है। थैंक यू।
So Samyukta ma'am is kind of camera shy person. We just requested him with a folded hands to write his reviews, and somehow we convinced him. So yeah, he's working in that particular industry for last 10 to 15 years. And if he's convinced with the idea, I guess it's technically, practically, economically feasible over the shop floors in the markets.
Understood. So, Adarsh, just a quick follow-up on this. So, are you all largely going to keep it B2B at this point?
Yes, ma'am. It's 80 to 90%. It's going to be B2B. One point I would like to mention here that apart in today's scenario, textile industry is paying 0.5 paise per kg to remove this waste. They're paying to remove this waste. So, firstly, we are making things simpler for them. Secondly, the inspiration for this blog, I just wanted to share a quick story here that during our workplace, we just faced a major accident over the shop floor because that guy was burning this particular, what we are saying as a cotton dust. So that particular thing pushed us to innovate something and to find a solution. But in future, of course, we are going to penetrate B2C market as well, and we'll try to maximize our business. That's, I guess, the point of scalability is also there.
Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted you to just think about now that you're clear that it's B2B. Maybe just look at Asian Paints as a case in point where they largely started off as B2B and then got into this entire space of, because there was a huge realization at one point that you also have interior designers, architects playing a huge role in the influencing process, so to speak, of this entire space of every material. Everybody's kind of very, very cued into what's happening today. So yeah, perfect. Okay, great job done.
And can we say that in our case, contractors can do this job of the painters?
Contractors will, absolutely. Contractors will, because at the end of the day, you have two kinds of consumers always, right? The ones who are very, very enthu and who will get very deep into the subject and who will have a lot of questions. And then there are those who will outsource everything. So that's where you'll have to have some kind of a tiering model in terms of saying, okay, you'll do this. And then how do you then go into the influencer bit and then finally into the consumer bit?
Very well taken.
No questions from me. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. Judges, thank you so much for staying a little bit over time. We have one more team today. We wanted to ask if you would be okay if we did that, or would you like to push that?
I have a meeting starting in 2 minutes, so unfortunately I'll have to drop off. It's an important one. Yeah.
Understood.
I'll be more flexible in the morning. Yeah.
Thank you. Samyukta and Professor, please let us know if you would be willing to stay on. Otherwise,
I
we may
can
have to.
stay. I can stay for another presentation. Yeah.
Can also stay.
Okay, great. Team
Thank you, everyone.
Matrix.
Fabulous job. I'll see you guys in the morning then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hardik. Great. Team Matrix, can you please present?
Sure, I'll just start presenting my screen. Yes, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I'll just quickly do audio check as well. Am I audible perfectly?
Yeah, you're audible and the screen is visible as well.
Right. All right, I think we'll start then.
All right. I'm audible too, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, hi everyone. We are Team Booklet. I am Srishti and my teammates are Akshit, Radhe, and Gaurav. Right. So, since we're all students, our problem identification started from our very own journeys. We noticed piles and stacks of paper around us. And when we came to calculating the impact, we realized that in postgraduate schools around India, there is a total consumption of 500 billion sheets of paper every single year, which leads to almost 2.7 million tons of carbon emissions. And there is a need to bring a solution, and the solution has to be sustainable, equitable, and paperless, and in line with the UN's SDGs. Now, this brings the question of why hasn't it been done yet? So we did look at previous solutions, and while companies have tried to solve this, they've only looked at it in parts. So if they've solved the hardware problem, like say Kindle or iPad, there hasn't been any software to support it. If there's been a software, there isn't customizability which can help the campus. And if there's content, well, we've seen the problem with content with companies like Baiju. It's very hard to sustain. And so the ideal solution looks like this. It should have an LMS with a hardware interface. It should be customized based on what the institute needs. It needs to have on-site training and support, and there needs to be partner with publication houses. Now, before coming to a solution, of course, we have to look at all of the stakeholders involved in any educational setting. First, the students, of course. Now, in the current situation, a student takes notes, reads and highlights, and writes exams on paper. All of this can easily be solved with any digital device. The faculty, it prescribes ebooks, writes on a PPT while teaching, and checks exam papers. Now, just imagine how much easier it would be if all of these activities could be constrained in a single device. The institutions distribute physical ebooks to all, which is cumbersome, while all of these ebooks are also available digitally. And when we think of the publishers, ebooks actually have higher margins for them. While moving, while moving to a paperless solution is an ambitious task, we recognize that it will come down to a change management system. And we are sure that as students, since we understand the problems best, we will ensure that it is a seamless transition when all problems will be taken care of. Presenting our solution, it is an LMS, a learning management system, which is cloud-based. And this will be accessed through a hardware interface, which is the booklet. And this booklet will be equipped with technologies to enhance the learning experience for students as well as teachers. In the future, this ecosystem will help students gain access to other third-party apps of, say, studying or productivity. And this, all in all, is a sustainable and technology-driven learning ecosystem designed for the modern student. Coming to more detail on our solution. Booklet is a hardware device
integrated on an LMS, a learning management system. And this will be connected to a cloud, which will allow all students access to the digital library, which will allow them to connect and collaborate. It has advanced security, keeping in mind the needs of the institute, and it will have an air-gap network. Now, of course, since it will be in the hands of the students all day, it has to have a robust design, which is water and dust resistant. It will have multiple features like note-taking and an exam proctoring mode, which means institutes will be able to conduct their exams completely paperless. And of course, keeping the health of the students in mind, it has to be an anti-glare solution with a long battery life. So as you can see, it's got the power of a book with the convenience of a tablet.
All right. So moving on to a bit of numbers right now, we try to understand the market potential. We believe that our solution has a substantial market potential, and we want to start this off by targeting all the higher educational institutes globally. That makes our total addressable market to be roughly 240,000 higher educational universities globally. But we want to we want to keep Booklet as a solution made in India for India that restricts our SAM to roughly 45,000 universities. And we also realize that these institutes have limited financial capability and interest. So initially, we want our serviceable operational market to be roughly 8,000 higher institutions. We start off with higher educational management institutions, and in future we want to expand our solution to include educational institutes from other domains like engineering, commerce, law, etc. Now this brings us to the question, why would an institution try to onboard with us? This is because our solution provides them with customizability to customize the content specifically according to their own needs. It gives the institute more control to effectively align their teaching methods with all the objectives of the institute, and also provides them higher power to control the content and uh, keep everything secure in the own cloud management system. Finally, this gives the institute an opportunity to catalyze the adoption of emerging technology among students. Uh, this will enable them to get in touch with technology at a uh, early age in the educational and the professional environment, and equip them for a better future. So moving on to our business model. Our business model includes all of these different stakeholders, which are the students, the faculty, the publishers, the educational institutions, etc. So we start off by onboarding publishers on our platform, where they will provide us with content. This content, as previously discussed, will give the educational institutions power to customize and control. Uh, Customizations according to the institute's requirements, and control according to the institute's power. Eventually, we will start making revenue by charging educational institutions a subscription fee and a leasing fee. The subscription fee will be an annual fee for the LMS software, and the lease will be for the hardware. Uh, to to ensure that our operations are smooth enough, we want to establish on-campus support centers, which will help in training faculty and students in using the LMS and the hardware together, and seamlessly getting integrated into our ecosystem. Additionally, the on-campus support will help providing 24/7 tech and learning support, so that the entire process of education is seamless and without any hiccups. Uh, Now, the most critical aspect of our business model is the green management. This involves the reuse and recycle of our hardware, which is the booklet. So we want to refurbish and reissue our devices to the next batch of students. The non-functional devices will be sent to the recycling centers, and the older devices would be given to the less privileged students in order to bridge the digital divide. So this is just a starting point. Eventually, we want to increase our revenue from subscription, increase the proportion of revenue from subscription, and develop an entire hardware agnostic solution. Now, let's talk about a bit about our growth numbers. We want to start off with onboarding 5 universities in the first year of our operations, and then eventually scale to up to 200 universities in year 5 of our operations with a growth rate of 152%. The first phase would be the trial phase, wherein we conduct uh, very aggressive product development and beta testing. We try to increase the awareness of our product and set up operations in these 5 different universities. We do a lot of testing and incorporate consumer feedback, understand their pain points, and then create a product market fit which is good to use for the institutes. In the second phase, which will be the adoption phase, we aim to scale to major management universities in the year 2 and 3 of our operations. By the end of this, we aim to onboard 50 universities. In this phase, we will streamline our operations, make continuous improvements to our product. We will define 3 key metrics and then track them on a regular basis and then get ready for scale. In year 3, in phase 3, which is year 4 and 5, we introduce new features to our product and start expanding to other educational institutions. We do aggressive marketing, optimize our sales channels, and focus on consumer retention. If all goes according to our plan, by the end of year 5, we
Team
would
Maverick,
have.
your time is over. We will now
All
proceed
right.
to question and answer.
Right. This was just a preliminary financial analysis by which we aim to break even in the next 4 years. And in the next 3.5 years, we will be requiring another round of funding according to our analysis. So yeah, we can move ahead with the questions now. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for presenting this. And yes, definitely there's a great potential. Tell me what would happen in a university. Of course, your solution require that every student use that, then only it is deployable, right? And if every
Right.
student is not subscribing to this, or our university is not willing to lease, is there any way that this can be, adopted partially for a class or for a university?
So I'll take that up. Thank you for the question. So we thought about this very particularly, and we are very clear about the fact that we are a B2B2C model. So we will be interacting with colleges and institutions and have them onboard us as clients, and we will not be pressurizing the students to take us up or lease the booklet or pay the subscription fees. Other than that, the second part of your question, if this can be done partially, I think that is a plan to initially integrate this software only with specific class of students. And then as we are sure that it can be applicable to all of the students in the institute, we roll out to the whole batch. Also, we've thought that it will be done feature-wise. So, for example, in the beginning, we will only roll out features of reading notes and marking notes, but we will not let them have exams on it because we want them to become familiarized with the hardware. Once they are very familiar with it, we will roll out features like taking online classes or maybe giving the exam in a proctoring mode. So that is our idea.
And to use this booklet, I mean, what kind of training or the pre-training will require for the student, or it's just very user-friendly that once it is in hand, anybody can use it?
So currently we will make sure that it is user-friendly from our side. But from the other side also, in today's curriculum, a lot of people are already using maybe iPads or tablets to go through their coursework. So we are making sure that this system is not very different from what they use currently. We will try mimicking softwares that they are familiar with, hardware like iPad or tablet that they already use with styluses, and thus the transition from the paper to a paperless will be very seamless.
All right, thank you.
Hi, team. I think one good job done on the overall thought process behind what you have envisioned. Just a question on one is, have you all considered Yes, is it the need of the hour to go paperless? Yes, it is. But have you considered the possibility of what kind of resistance could you encounter with each of the cohorts and the stakeholders that you all have mentioned on one of the initial slides, saying this is the use case currently, this is how the habit is, right? Yeah. So each of these, whether it's a student, the faculty, the institution, the publishers, have you considered what kind of resistance you could be faced with and how you plan to overcome that? That's question one. Question two is on the entire bit of while it could on paper, unintended, seem like a good solution. What happens to, I know you have considered things like, I think effect on the eyes, and there was one more thing, I think that will have kind of taken care of in the solutioning bit of it. But there's a whole lot of science that tells you what happens with prolonged usage of, digital and prolonged use of, various parts of your body. And the younger people are the worse it affects them. When it says things like you can use it for 20 minutes at a stretch, then take a break, because otherwise it's going to start affecting you mentally, physically, heart, arrhythmia, and all kinds of things could happen. How would you combat something like that?
Sure. So, ma'am, to answer your first question, I think first what we did is through our thought process, we thought of problems that each and every stakeholder could face, and we came up with a solution. But the second leg of our thought process, we thought of talking to each of the stakeholders. So, because we are early students at Ahmedabad, we took this solution in a very partial manner to each of the stakeholders, to our fellow students, to faculty members, and also to publishers that are supplying books right now. And that is where we got to know the power of a digital ebook. From starting from the right, publishers have a very high margin when they supply ebooks rather than giving physical books. Coming to the institution, the cumbersome task of distributing these ebooks, tracking them, storing them in libraries becomes very easy if we democratize the access to these digital ebooks. And coming to students and faculty, what is happening right now is all of them have partial access to these technologies, but there is no single solution that everyone is using. And hence, even though they can do some tasks, they can't collaborate and do it together. So we think that if there is a single solution onboarded by the institution, it will serve as an ecosystem for everyone to collaborate, and it's a win-win for each of the stakeholders. But surely we will be taking feedback throughout the process of building the product and be incorporating it with it. For the second part of it, we have also thought about the physical strains that each of the students can face because of this. So currently what is happening, most of the students spend a lot of time looking at their laptops. And even though some of them take precautionary measures like, wearing UV ray glasses or getting an anti-glare screen, it is not true for everyone because not all of them are that health conscious. But because this is a centralized product distributed by the college, we can make sure that the technology like an anti-glare screen or anti-UV screen will be distributed to each and every student. And above that, we also make sure that students with different abilities, like maybe who can't read small font sizes or who have maybe a color problem, we make sure that because it is a digital solution, we can serve those students as well.
Understood. I'll leave you with one thought on the first question. I think you'll have to delve a lot deeper in terms of doing a lot of research because what you're talking about right now is more physical, technical, it's more logical, so to speak. While what the question is a little more like mindset shift. And it takes a lot to get somebody to change a habit, to change the way they do things. The resistance will be very high. I'll just urge you guys to look a little deeper into that first bit aspect. On the second part of it, there are more health problems that can happen. I know we are all privy to, we're all using digital solutions today in every possible way. But I think the closer you all can get to making it sustainable even from a health angle perspective, I think that the change will genuinely be like super well. Because then your adoptability rate and if your ability to just go pitch this to anybody will become that much simpler. It's going beyond the eyes. It's honestly a lot more deeper than just that. But overall, great.
I totally agree. Thank you so much, man.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your inputs.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your feedback. Are there any more questions?
Great. If there are no more questions, that was our final presentation for today. Thank you so much to all the teams and all our wonderful judges. There were some really good ideas, and we really hope that the feedback and the questions from the jury will help bring your plans to action. So we will reconnect tomorrow at 9 a.m. for the remainder of the presentations. And thank you everybody for your time.
Thank you, and all the best to everyone.
Wish everyone all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so